I just miss her. I'm missing her. I'm missing, all these things. So for myself, it was finding the freedom to be able to be present for my daughter and to be present for her. She was growing and to be present for the family. I'm going to pursue my passions as to what I want to be when I grow up.
Welcome to Women and Work, the show where we explore how women are moving up in corporate America, starting their own companies, and navigating the struggle of balancing work and family. I'm Diane Mocha, founder and CEO of the MomSub Childcare app, and I'm learning the hacks and approaches women have taken to change the way that work can fit their life to help you do the same. Today, I'm talking with Holly O'Donnell, a leadership development consultant. She's worked at Disney World, at Grand Victoria Casino, and as an event manager for different organizations before launching her own endeavor more than 10 years ago. Holly, we thank you for coming out to our studio today.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
So I want to know what challenges you faced when you decided in 2013 to go ahead and go off on your own and become self-employed. Were there particular challenges in doing that because you were a woman?
Oh, gracious. To reflect on that one, I think the challenges were identifying the proper opportunities that offered the flexibility we were looking for. We had just had our daughter. She was, within probably the first 3 or 6 months of her birth. That's when I left corporate America because it was a round trip commute to the city of Chicago. It was 3 hours. And I was like, I just miss her. I'm missing her. I'm missing, all these things. So for myself, it was finding the freedom to be able to be present for my daughter and to be present for her. She was growing and to be present for the family.
Mm-hmm. So that must have been a hard transition because you had worked very hard in your career to work your way up and you had moved around.
Yeah.
And so did you feel you had no choice? Did you try to negotiate something else? Like, how many things went through your head when you made that decision? Like, I'm just going to go from being full-time in the corporate world to now just doing my own thing. What other things did you consider?
Well, I was also looking at the career transition. The hospitality background for 20 years with Disney and with the Grand Victoria Casino and other hospitality organizations. It was my background, but I always had this passion for leadership and development. And so I was like, how do I take this passion that I have for training people, motivating people, and then make it my new career path? So it really was almost restarting a new career. So not only just being there for my family, but saying, I'm going to pursue my passions as to what I want to be when I grow when I grow up, and how I can, fulfill myself and continue to grow.
Was there ever any thought of, well, maybe dad will leave his job?
No.
Was it a financial consideration? Was your husband making more than you? Were you equal? Was it just a personal decision that I don't want to miss all those milestones? I don't want to be away. I don't want to be in the car 3 hours when I can be with my child.
It was more of the logistical aspect. We were very blessed at that juncture of where we were living and our standard of living to where our dual income with our new daughter, Emma, didn't impact us. So we were blessed in the fact that I was able to take a step back for those and take 6 months to be with her after she was born. And then from there, it was, looking at, it wasn't really a stressful element as to, how we were going to do. It was more of what is the pathway and what is the journey that I need to take to educate myself and to become that new path of leadership and development versus in the hospitality background. It married each other. Opportunities, they landed because it was taking my hospitality and my client engagement background and implementing it into other industries and training them on how to provide hospitality, how to provide that exceptional guest experience to other teams. And that's how it transitioned. And then I'm in a field now where I'm constantly learning. I learn every day from other people, whether it is transitioning not only from just client engagement and hospitality, that's how I started it, but it has transitioned to leadership development, growth mindset, looking at emotional intelligence, conflict resolution. I obtained my conflict resolution certification from Cornell this past fall. So I'm constantly looking at ways to educate myself so that I can motivate and inspire other people.
Wow. So you really made a lot of this. Is it a business? Did you register it as a business?
Absolutely,
And
yes.
it has a name
Yes,
and your
Sloan
business,
Solutions is the business.
what's it called?
Sloan Solutions.
Sloan
So
Solutions.
my maiden name is Sloan,
Hmm.
and it was a family of all girls. So the family name dies off. And so from a tribute to my dad, because he was also an entrepreneur and spirit. So it's part of the DNA within the family to say, okay, Sloan Solutions. So impacting cultures and developing leaders.
Okay. And so when you made this decision that logistically this wasn't working with this commute and full time, and you could take this time, to spend more time with your child and you didn't need that other income, did you consider, well, rather than just jumping into starting my own business and like all, that's like birthing a baby too, all
Mhm.
that goes into that, did you say, well, maybe I'll be a stay at home mom for a while? Did you entertain any of that? Or were you pretty clear that I got to have something else going on besides just mother?
Gracious. I it became the demand became where I had to say I had to get the help. We needed to get the childcare because the demand for leadership development and for the consulting business exploded. It became huge.
Okay, so
People were
you
like, the
so
need
you knew
warranted.
that you wanted to do something
Definite.
besides just stay home.
Yeah.
And so, but you weren't sure sort of how quickly this business would grow. You thought,
Correct.
well, maybe I'll just help a client here and
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
I'll be with my child most of the day. I'll do a few things at night. It didn't work
Yeah,
out that
no, it
way.
did not. And actually, I traveled significantly the first year of her
So you
life.
were away from her.
I know, which is terrible. So like we would
Not
so
terrible.
I
No.
mean there's mommy guilt within that. I
Uh,
remember her taking her first steps and I wasn't home and my husband I
oh.
was like push her down. So I was like push her down. I want to see her when I get home. I was like she'll get back up. But it's like those were moments that as moms that we look back on and through reflection we go okay I chose a career moment versus being a mother in that moment, but also being able to fulfill myself and to create a pathway now that has transpired into a career and now a journey with my book Fiercely Confident that I think just makes life well-rounded, and that journey wouldn't what I'm experiencing today couldn't happen if I didn't take that leap
Okay.
10 years
So
ago.
there's a lot of steps in between there.
Yeah.
So tell us, how many kids you had and what ages they are now and how you navigated motherhood and growing your business at the same time.
Sure. I'm very fortunate that my husband is awesome and amazingly supportive. We have one. We stopped at
Okay.
perfection.
Okay.
And Emma will be 13 in 2 weeks.
Oh,
So
wow.
get a teen
Challenging.
in the house. Oh my! And middle school is rough. Middle school is always hard. I think it's that transition for all parents to go through. So the navigation was, my husband, his job enabled him. He was mostly local and within the Chicagoland region. So for me to get on a plane, he had that flexibility and the versatility to be able to support the household and to do.
And did you realize when you started your business that you were going to be traveling and were going to be away? Because one of the motivations you said was kind of to be there more with your
Right,
child.
right. No, that was not, and I didn't know that I was going to love it. I didn't realize that I was going to love consulting with different teams across the nation and saying, "Hey, this is how you can enhance your guest experience. This is how you can, become a leader for your team members by showing motivation, appreciation, and creating processes that enhance your team's culture." So it was really, really cool to see that transition. And then referrals are the best and highest compliment. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And so, any of the folks that you were working with, were you working with women who needed different kinds of resources and direction than maybe the men did when it came to reaching out for leadership roles, taking those on, having people take them seriously as leaders? What did you see out there, and how did you, as a woman, influence them and help in that regard in their
Sure.
careers?
Sure. Sometimes you have to have difficult conversations with people. I coached individuals on their dress. I had to actually pull one very bright young woman aside and said, wearing, Spanx to the office, not necessarily the best way to represent, especially in a male dominated industry that I was consulting in. And I said, if you want to be taken seriously, my recommendation would be to switch it up just a bit. How can we look and portray ourselves? And she became promoted. I remember coming back, to her team 6 months later and she's like, look at me She's filled with confidence, filled with a joy that said, "Hey, I got a coaching moment. I was able to, to move forward." And I think that other women that I've interacted with, I think women as a whole, when we're working in no matter what industry, and consulting, we're always looking at how not only are we supporting our families, but how are we supporting our team? I think there's a motherly instinct that goes into play when we're interacting with others. And I find that as a constant theme now as I consult with teams and I do executive coaching for teams. And there's discussions on, how we perceived. Right? If I'm a younger manager and I'm dealing with, a more tenured staff, how am I perceived? How do I relate? How can I be taken seriously? So there's an imposter syndrome that's taken place within that. And I also think that there's a level of confidence that we can find and discover amongst ourselves that says, I'm content with who I am. And I'm confident with the direction and how I communicate, versus changing who I am to not be my authentic self when I'm leading other people.
And that's interesting that you start with the one story and end with that, because my thought is, of course, there's things to consider, but when you ask someone, maybe you should change your appearance, are we asking them to change who their authentic self is? And does that go for men as well as women, or is it different for women?
I think it depends on the industry and the context.
Okay.
I do. I had a gentleman that I met recently that he was told that the way that he dressed was why he was over, not considered for a promotion within his team. And I said, have you taken to light any of that feedback? And he's like, I do. I do dress differently now because of it. I think anytime that we obtain insights or feedback from people, if we receive it from a healthy space and it's really meant to help us thrive and to be better, that feedback is always good. I think when it's demeaning or when it's meant to put us down, that's when we need to step back and reflect and go, okay, where's it? What space is this coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you've seen your business grow dramatically?
Yeah, ebbs and flows, of course. Market fluctuations, of course. Some years are fantastic, and other years are like, wait. But no, I've been very blessed, and I love the aspect that I continue to learn in everything that I do too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so when you started it, you weren't sure what was going to happen, and it started growing quickly. Mm-hmm. And then you said you had to kind of figure out, well, now what I'm going to do, because I can't be with a baby all day, and get all this work done for these clients who are coming to me. Mm-hmm. So what were your thoughts about childcare? What kind of research did you do? What did you decide on?
Gracious. We did initially where we were living was in the northwest burbs of Chicago. And initially Emma was in childcare in a woman's home. And that's when she was a baby. And that's when I did leave corporate America, because I was like, why does she get to have her? I want to have her. So when we relocated from the northwest burbs just to the western burbs out here to the Naperville, Aurora area, that's when we looked at our healthcare options and our childcare options. We did go back to a woman who offered healthcare out of her home, and I forget the website
childcare
we used.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. It was like nannies.com or something like that. Uh-huh. But she had referrals and had a child that was similar to Emma's age in her home, and we utilized those services. I mean, it was fun. She had a trampoline in her backyard, and when Emma became of an age where we knew developmental stages for reading and development for preschool and for kindergarten, that's when we went to the more organized tutor times and kinder care.
Mm-hmm. And then there was more shuttling around.
Yes.
So who was doing that generally?
My husband, because I was traveling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he had flexibility with his work. Did he work from home?
Yeah, home-based. So very blessed in that regard.
Okay. So that's why you were able to navigate it. Was it a lot of effort and time to do the research to find the right childcare place, or did you feel like it was pretty straightforward, and because you had that flexibility of him being able to pick up and drop off, you didn't have to worry as much?
No, I mean, we interviewed. I mean, we looked for references. We would walk in and we would observe how the kids were interacting. And I mean, they were sitting on the floor and staring at, there was one childcare that had an empty fishbowl and the kids were just wrapped around it, just staring. I was like, that doesn't look good. It's like, no, we're not going to be here at the fishbowls, even if there's not even a fish in it. So we would look at the children engagement and how they interacted with each other. And when we saw like the playfulness and we saw like, toys and interaction, and, of course the child, teacher ratio had a huge impact as well within that. There's a concept that you feel it in your gut. There's an intuition that falls with it and you go, yeah, this is our space. This is our person.
Yeah. And then you stayed with that for quite a while.
We did.
And then as the kids went to school, just getting them there, getting them home, generally that's still your husband's domain. He handles that?
We were...
Or do you split it? Is he only doing it when you're out of town and when you're in town?
Yes.
Are you splitting it?
Yeah, we're splitting.
So it's some days you're like, I got a meeting. Other days he's like, I got a meeting.
Yep.
So it's kind of that constant logistical.
Yeah.
Is it a struggle?
There are some days when we're like, you're where? Can you be back from the Northwest suburbs when you're like way up in, Round Lake or what have you? I'm like, can you get back down to pick her up from an after school activity or what have you? So there's always a juggle. We're always looking at like how to shuttle her. We like literally I will get phone calls from people and be like, I'm a taxi for the next 45 minutes for my daughter, so I'm not available right now. So, but we make it work. So, and I think we love our kids fiercely. So you're going to do anything that you can to help them thrive, get them engaged in the activities that make them feel confident and to do it. So you do what you can. You find your carpools, you find whatever you can.
So you really made a decision a long time ago that you knew that your work at that time was not fitting your life and you needed something different. Yeah. And your life went in a whole different direction that you even probably could have anticipated. But not every woman has as many resources around as you do, and even the confidence to kind of make that decision. And so sometimes people get stuck living a life and a career that might not be fitting what they want for their life. What would you tell them in terms of where they should go, what you did to kind of come to these decisions and to and how to trust in themselves that it's the right thing to do?
If you have a passion that that fills your cup, find a way to explore it, even if it's a hobby on the weekends. If there are mom groups or specialty groups that you can network, even if it's during your work day, and if you are able to break away for lunch, or even if they're remote, if they're on Zoom, people do hybrid things. Like there are things out there, like find it. There's a lot of mom websites and a lot of mom resources out there. Just go on Facebook and just Google, mom groups interested in underwater basket weaving. You're going to find a group, and then you can say, when do you meet? How do you do it? And you can explore it and you can find it. And then tell everyone about your dream, because it's who we know and it's who we network through. We live in silos. We have become too comfortable living in our homes. We've become very comfortable living in our own bucket. And it's our human nature and it's the psychology of just human beings to network and to be able to interact and relate to other people. So even though it might be a huge stretch of your comfort zone, spark up a dialogue with somebody when you're checking out at the grocery store, or spark up a dialogue when you're shopping and tell them your dream, because you'd be amazed of somebody that's 6 degrees of separation that can get you there.
And now you're living your dream, huh?
Yeah.
How nice.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for sharing your story, your dream, and all that you've done. We're really happy for you, and we want you to live your dream. Now, if you found that you enjoyed this talk, please subscribe, leave a review, and share our Women in Work podcast. If you want to invest in a solution to the childcare crisis, that's my dream, you can reach out to me about the Mom Sub Equity crowdfunding campaign at Diane@momsub.com, Diane @momsub.com. Mom Sub's like a substitute mom. Or you can connect with us on LinkedIn or other social media platforms. Remember, your career, your choices, and your success are yours to define. Keep pushing boundaries and spreading your love and encouragement to other women who need it.